Well, welcome. Joanne Williams here for Anxiety Simplified podcast. And I am here to share some powerful strategies I've used with my clients as a 30-year mental health professional to lower anxiety simply that you can use to bring right into your own home right now and car, and that we hope you will use to make your life just a little easier, just a little happier, less stressed. And we really want to thank our loyal listeners that are rating and reviewing and subscribing. We really need that to continue. So we really appreciate it. So enjoy. So today's topic is going to be about, does marijuana help calm anxiety? Since anxiety is my specialty, I've been watching the data and I've really have been wondering, what it's showing. So, this article that I'm going to refer to is talking about, does marijuana help to calm anxiety, weighing the benefits and risk, and whether it's going to work for you. And I think that's the key here that we're going to be talking about. So, this is never a recommendation from me for any kind of use of medication or substance ever. I'll just tell you that right off the bat. But I want you to hear this for yourself because marijuana is becoming more legalized in more states. So I think it's going to be on the forefront, or it has been for a while. So this article is by Madeline Kennedy. And just like I said, I cannot support marijuana use or use of any substances in general, since they're covering up the symptoms. So this isn't political, or this isn't about a judgment on it. Instead, I see professionals, counselors like myself. I don't want you to cover up your symptoms. I want you to resolve them. And that's what I work to do with my clients. So I'm going to recommend finding you to find some other ways. And I'm going to put some recommendations in this podcast for other ways that you could address anxiety. Really, to get skills and strategies instead to reduce your anxiety without substances, because that can cause other problems in your life, or this yearning for a substance. Because even if it's reaching for a beer when you come home, oh, I'm so stressed, or all the commercials on TV about the ways to cope is to grab a substance, I'm not going to support that. I'll tell you right off the bat, but I am going to give you some skills to use right here and now. Because really, as a 30-year veteran, and my specialty has been anxiety, I do get asked this all the time in my views and opinions on marijuana use and what I see about it. And I have taken seminars on this subject because, again, I want data. I really want to see, what is the research and data showing. And what the most recent one, I think it was last year that I took, came back that there is no clear evidence that marijuana helps anxiety itself. And so there's some different caveats that I really do want you to hear about, because it's not as straightforward and simple as that. But I think it is clear that it can make anxiety worse. I've had at least 2 or 3 clients, and actually one family member, go to the ER from overdosing. And you don't hear about really overdosing on marijuana, but I mean, they are scared to death. These things are happening in their body they don't know what to do with, and they're afraid they're going to die. So it can make an adverse effect on you, that maybe because some of these are very potent. It is a hallucinogen. Marijuana, the THC, is a hallucinogen and can make you see things or hear things like the pink elephants on the wall kind of thing that are not normal, or go on what's called a trip that can scare somebody or create paranoia. The other issue that I see, the main issue I see, is brain development in boys and girls continues until age 25. And I don't think a lot of people even know that. And I think that's really important to think about. Young kids, if you're listening to this, or parents of young kids, oh, they're just smoking a little marijuana and they're, no, it's not just that. It has an effect on your brain. And this, they say it's a gateway and it sounds all whatevery, but it's not, because it's saying something to your brain. oh, this feels good. I want more. I like this feeling. Or, this is a way to, to help me to think I am relaxing. So it could even be a placebo, but it has an effect. Besides the chemicals themselves, there's like 99 different chemicals, especially if you smoke it. And again, you've got lung issues. You've heard about the vaping, so I hope people are not doing that. This can cause medical issues. But any substance can have effect on your brain and can be detrimental. I want to go into this article by Madeline Kennedy that she really is looking at, can it help anxiety? And so we're going to kind of do a little bit of the research, but she starts right off the bat that there is evidence that CBD compounds. So there's two compounds, the CBD and the THC. The THC is what's the hallucinogen. So there is a difference in those, and that's what people don't seem to get. Even as they buy CBD, if it's full spectrum, has THC in it. So that can have a different effect on your brain. So she starts out, there's evidence that CBD, a compound in marijuana, may help treat some anxiety disorders, though the research is limited. And then she goes on, though many people report smoking weed, she calls it, to treat anxiety. The drug could actually make anxiety symptoms worse for some people. And I think that's the hard part. All we're getting is anecdotal, we call it, which is the start of research. I mean, that's why we find out about most drugs, or herbs in nature, and it goes into a drug. So this isn't nothing, but there's just not enough research. So I hope there's going to be, so that you can find because there's strains of marijuana. So there may be different strains that absolutely help people sleep, calm down. And they say there are, but again, how do we know for sure? And what is the amount? That always gets me. What is the amount? Because if you're not getting what we call a standardized dose of anything, herbal, whatever, any medicine, even vitamins when you buy them, that you really should find one that has standardized dosing, because that means you're getting the same amount in each pill, let's call it. The same for marijuana. I don't know this for sure, but I don't see that that's happening, especially if you're smoking it. How do you know? And how do you know what else is in there? Are there pesticides? What is the source? So there's just too many unknowns. And, again, the research is scarce how marijuana can affect anxiety symptoms like irritability, muscle tension, excessive worry. For some people, it actually may increase their anxiety, she says. And there are some experts we're going to go through that know so far about how the chemicals in marijuana affect the brain and why they may help or make it worse. So there are two main chemicals, like I just said, the THC and the CBD, both attached to certain receptors in the brain, which trigger the various sensations that you feel. The THC is the chemical that produces the high and experience, during smoking or ingestion of any kind, while the CBD has a much more subtle, non-intoxicating effect. So again, you need to know this difference between these two as you look into this for yourself. Though some states have legalized marijuana, there are still restrictions on the federal level. Some states have done it, but it's still illegal on the federal level, which is placing a limit on research in medical facilities. So if it's a federal offense, so that's part of the problem. And there's limited scientific proof that marijuana can alleviate anxiety, but that hasn't stopped people from using the drug to see if it does, or some people I think do, but we don't know if it's placebo, that it just think it does because it does do something to our brain. So we don't know. In one survey, it talked about that they found that 58% of the users say that were using marijuana to treat their anxiety. And then in a smaller 2012, two-thirds of college students with high social anxiety report that they smoke marijuana to help cope. And I'm going to say something about some of these types of anxiety as we go through this. Social anxiety is when you go into a social situation and can be small, not just a large crowd of people, but more intimate, where there may be some pressure on you to perform, or if you say something, you're going to feel like they're going to think you're stupid and kind of reject you. That's social anxiety. And think about this. If you use any kind of substance for going in before a party or going to meet a small group, a dinner party or whatever, you might have a couple drinks to let down the feeling. And alcohol does do that. And what we know is it inhibits you. So that's why you can be a little freer with what you say and not caring so much. Where marijuana may do that for some people, but it also make you be looking around a little bit more and enhance that people are looking at you, because it can. Again, the THC can make you more paranoid. So social situations, I could see why they could try it, because why not learn some skills instead? I'll give you one right now. When you get into a social situation, start focusing on that person you're going to be talking to right now. Ask them questions. Be interested in them. Oh, really? I haven't ever thought about it like that. Have you ever thought about blank? And so put the attention on them. Everybody loves to talk about themselves, and somebody interested in them. Oh, yeah. So they want to talk about themselves. So put the focus there. That will get you. A lot of times, this is what we call icebreakers. You just need something to get you over that first initial conversation, to even see if you want to have a conversation with them. So just use that, focus on them. And she goes on, given the lack of scientific research, it's unclear that chemicals in the marijuana plant may help with anxiety, whether it is THC, CBD, or a combination, or something else, 99 chemicals, something else in it. There's been, since about 2050, 40 preliminary studies on CBD found that this chemical may play a role in helping. The researchers say that they found encouraging preliminary results, that a concentrated, how much is that, dose of CBD oil, when taken regularly, there again, you got to keep doing this, and how much is the dose, could be an effective treatment for a host of anxiety disorders. So I'm just going to go into a couple of these. So, generalized anxiety is about kind of generalized anxiety in a lot of different sources. You just kind of feel like you're overwhelmed a little bit in so many situations because you're feeling anxious and worried in normal parts of your life. I call it thinking of having thoughts, which is the key to treatment. Look at your thoughts that you're having. It's kind of a gloom and doom. Oh my gosh, and the what ifs, if this happens and that, oh, that could happen if I do this. Here is a treatment idea. Change the thought. You are in charge of those. If you notice you're having some, if I go there, blank might happen, change it. I'm going to go there and I'm going to be there for 15 minutes. And I find some interesting people to be with and find that I can calm down without substances. I'm going to have a good time. Or I'm leaving after 15 minutes. Tell your friends, I'm going to try this and see if I can find somebody to connect with that's interesting, that draws my attention to them. Then you're going to have that conversation that gets real. You don't have to think too hard about this in that moment, because that's what you're doing. Thinking ahead. Oh, what if they say no? Be yourself. You are okay just the way you are if you think that. But if you're thinking, oh, look at me, I don't know, I kind of look, no, then dress yourself. Feel good about yourself before you go there. So you throw your shoulders back. It's about projection of energy. When you walk in that room, I am strong, I am handsome, or I'm beautiful, as I move into this energy. And notice when people walk in a room, what is the energy? Like a celebrity. They walk in and it's like the room glows with energy. You can do that, but it comes from the inside. Okay. Some other ones, and this is another one I'd like people to know about, this other study that it was done in ScienceDirect.com, exposing worrying and generalized anxiety disorder. But what it is, and I'm going to kind of simplify this. What they found is they tested these people about generalizing about situations that they're going to be worried in, found that 91.4% of worries did not come true. All those what ifs, oh, if this happens, if that didn't even come true. However, when it goes on in the study, the most common percentage of untrue worries per person was 100%. So I know I like to say to my clients when we talk about, think about this. You're worrying about what if this happens, what if that? Well, that could happen. If I say, so probably you're worrying about things, and I always say 99% don't even come true. You're using up all your valuable emotional energy, thinking so hard, getting tired, and they don't even come true. So if one of these do, okay, learn to deal with it. Instead of just fearing it, avoiding it, learn some skills. If somebody says, oh, that's an ugly dress, and that just puts you, that's what I'm afraid of, then what do you say back to them? Have some comebacks. I did a whole podcast on this that talks about comebacks. I think every child needs these for bullies on because that person's a bully. Basically, I see that. So same thing. And you can just say something like, well, who made you God and judge me on it? Hey, go pick on somebody else. I'm not about that tonight. You actually, look pretty nice. I would think you would like to return that compliment. Something like that. But you can come up with these things knowing that 91% I think is very high. But if you think of 1 out of 10 of the things that you think about could come true, then have a comeback for it. Don't worry about it. The other things they looked into was like panic disorder, panic attacks, or some people call them anxiety attacks, where I call that you have catastrophic thinking. I'm going to be writing a book on this actually, and the 4-step formula to cap it. Conscious action plan, because all you have to do with panic, which is the symptoms of, oh, I get my breathing, you may breathe quickly, heart race, chest tightness. Maybe you feel like you're smothering. You want to just get some air on you. It can even be to the point where you feel like you're going to die. And that's the problem, because when you're telling your brain is telling your body, I'm going to die. That's where these physical symptoms comes in. I got to get ready to run. That's what's happening. You're getting your body ready to defend itself. Against what? Your thought that your dress doesn't look good? So it needs to be put into perspective. And that's why I say cap it, because there's a 4-step formula that once you have conscious awareness, what am I thinking right now? Then you can address it. Almost, again, 100%, I won't say that, 99% people, you have catastrophic thing, I'm going to die. If this happens, oh my God, drama, I'm going to die if this happens to me. We catch that. Consciously change it. And then look for my podcast on vagus breathing, or the 4 and 8 breathing. That is step number 4. Get a breathing technique that in the minute will calm you. Go find that one. It's 4 and 8 breathing, 4 inhalations, 8 exhalations. Do it 4 sets. Immediately calm you with a calming chemical sent right into your system and stimulates the vagus nerve with this acetylcholine, instantly calming. And obsessive compulsive disorder, this and post-traumatic stress disorder are 2 other ones which have anxiety certainly at their core. However, obsessive compulsive can be different. It actually can be, in post-traumatic stress disorder, can be actually brain disorders or brain injuries or genetics for obsessive compulsive, and actually may need some real attention and really more intensified work with it. So I'm not going to really go into those, but that can certainly have anxiety. And post-traumatic stress disorder is when you get triggered, and it can be a smell. It can be seeing somebody that maybe hurt you or looks like somebody, and it triggers this anxiety response, much like a panic attack. And so you may want to run away, or you feel your heart, it's getting ready to fight. So these need more intensive treatment. Marijuana, I would think for both of these, and again, I'm not saying this that I've done the research, I think can make them worse. So, more entrenched anxiety issues, I think you need to find solutions outside of substances. Post traumatic stress disorder, if you think about a war veteran coming home, you think about them going to a bar, drinking to destructive behavior, they want to fight, they're angry kind of thing. So, how is that going to help their anxiety? It's not, but they don't know what to do. Avoidance is the number one symptom there. Same with obsessive compulsive. Instead of addressing it, you have this compulsive behavior that you think makes it better. It doesn't, it actually makes it worse. Okay. So, here's some risks that they talk about for marijuana use. Even if restrictions on marijuana were lifted, researchers could use it in their studies. There's another problem. Both anxiety disorders and marijuana sensations are individualized. And just like the diagnoses are individualized. So marijuana may help one person with their anxiety, but not another one. Someone with just generalized anxiety disorder sometimes have difficulty sleeping. Same with depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. And the marijuana may help to sleep better, but it may not. It may keep your mind racing. Or somebody with panic disorder, they fear losing control, can actually make it worse. So, even worse, using marijuana could enhance symptoms of anxiety for some people. A professor of neurology and biochemistry at Georgetown says some are overly sensitive to the activating effects of THC, and this can induce anxiety rather than relieve it, he says. Some research in 2020 found that high potency cannabis may actually increase the risk of anxiety associated with anxiety use. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm from the 60s and 70s where we grew it, we smoked it, we did use marijuana. And it wasn't a big deal, but it was not as potent, I am told, because I don't know what happened. If they've concentrated, if they've made it better, I don't know if they're using different chemicals to grow it, but I am told it is 10, 20 times stronger. So that may be part of what he found in this study, that it's higher potency. So then there is a chance to smoking marijuana, but smoking, think about this for your lungs. How can that ever be good to smoke? We know what cigarettes do to us. How can smoking ever be good for us? But he's saying won't reduce or enhance anxiety at all. That you're doing this and you're hurting your lungs and it may not even help you. And that was the case of college students that were surveyed in 2012 who said they did not see a significant change in their anxiety after smoking. And then let's go into the possible side effects. Even if marijuana does help your anxiety, it comes with risks for your physical health, impaired motor coordination and control driving. Think about this, or walking. And it seems like everything's a big joke, when you're just kind of giggly and all that. It's just like drinking. You don't have the same quickness to respond. And this can be problematic while driving or engaging in tasks like driving heavy machinery that does require fine motor skills or coordination. So this other things could affect. Using marijuana is also found to cause short-term memory loss in people who start smoking young in their teen years. That brain effect can affect your short-term memory. And you kind of, I mean, it's not a joke, but you know how you see people kind of like, oh, hey, man, it's kind of a slowed down brain too. And it doesn't even know how the long-term effects on memory. There was a 2008 review that found evidence that smoking marijuana can increase the risk of heart issues like irregular heartbeat, particularly in older age groups. Though this may be a consequence of the act of smoking, not related to what you're smoking. So smoking itself can be the issue here. So there's just too many variables here to give anything clear. And this article I'm talking about was medically reviewed by Dr. Avano, and he is a certified psychiatrist in addiction psychiatry by the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology at NYC. Oh, he's a psychiatrist in New York City. So I'm just going to leave you with this. To me, the summary is choose some skills and strategies, learn them, go see a counselor, because we can teach you skills to deal with the social anxiety, the issues that are going on that you think that smoking or taking any substance is going to help you. In the long run, to me, it's going to bite you in the butt. So I hope you choose to learn some new things. It's like riding a bike. Once you do it a few times, you can learn skills. You can do this. Okay. So this is by no means a replacement for therapy or medical attention or talking to your doctor about these kinds of things if you need it. But always reach out, take care of yourself, or if you are feeling like you want to ever hurt yourself, there is always somebody standing by at 1-800-273-8255, or you can call 911, or you can text 491, I think, talk, and you can find some help there. You can also always find me on Facebook, Joanne Williams. I do have 2 pages actually on emotional support animal and psychiatric service dogs that can go with you anywhere as another way that you could find some comfort and lowers anxiety. That's another proven one, that you don't have to have substances. Maybe you can take your dog. And you can find out more and see videos of this and other podcasts at anxietysimplified.net. So I look forward to seeing you or hearing from you anytime. If you ever need some help, please reach out. There's a 10-minute free consultation on that website that you're more than welcome to reach out to me. All right, bye for now.